fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's gotta be biblical.
Hello and welcome to Patriots Across the Pond Monday Respect, episode 7. And today we are here with BAZ from ARC. As you guys know, every Monday we focus on everything having to do with saving the children and all aspects of what that means. How are you today, sir? How are you, Stu?
I'm good. Baz, how are you?
I'm well, thank you very much. It's good to be here with you guys.
Good, yeah. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for coming on. So if you guys would just indulge me, I want to let our audience know a little bit more about Baz. I'm going to just read a little bit about his very illustrious background. Baz is known as the patron saint for missing kids. He is a Citadel graduate, a former CIA Intelligence Special Operations Group paramilitary case officer, recipient of the Intelligence Commendation Medal, former counterterrorism officer in the United States Marine Corps, film and television writer, producer, and founder of the Association for the Recovery of Children, better known as ARC, one of the oldest child rescue organizations in America. In 1993, Baz founded the Association for the Recovery of Children, ARC, a nonprofit organization comprised of former and active intelligence, military, and law enforcement personnel dedicated to the recovery of missing and exploited American children in foreign and domestic locations. They do this at no cost to custodial guardians and with no paycheck in their pockets. Thus far, they have a 100% success rate in that every child they have gone after, they have safely brought home. In 2019, on invitation of the White House and the Department of Justice, Baz introduced ARC's legislative initiative involving severe penalties for those who sexually exploit any child under the age of 18 in the United States, and continues on this front to ensure we are a nation of laws that protect our children. So impressive.
That is impressive. I salute you, sir.
Yes. So,
yeah. No, go ahead, please. Taylor.
I was going to say, we, this is quite a background that you have. So we always love to find out from our guests how they got where they are. What was their awakening moment? What happened in their lives to lead them on their journey and path of what they're doing now. So we'd love to hear a little bit about your story.
Yeah, thank you for asking. Wow. a lot of times we try to reflect back on all the years, and we don't sometimes really pay much attention to the source of all of it. But, unashamedly, I think God brought me into this world and, to serve him and his purpose. And I know he loves kids, but I have a long line of ancestors that have always done the right thing, from my gosh, all the way back to the Crusades, I think, my grandfather coming to the United States in 1914, marrying a Native American woman, having 12 kids, and all of those kids believing in everything the Constitution had in print, to be honest with you, and living by that. My grandfather came here as an immigrant and just loved everything that was about America. I remember being raised up, and this what he told me set a few things in stone for me when it came to being unbiased with the mission, so to speak. He said, he goes, there are no African Americans, there are no Irish Americans, there are no Chinese Americans here. He goes, we're just all Americans. That's it. He said, so don't ever fall into that. He goes, when I've been downrange and pulling my buddies out of the trenches, he goes, we all bleed the same color. And so as I remembered that upbringing, and also with my father, who was an 8th group Green Beret guy and a great mom. I mean, I've been blessed with so much great influence in my life, even to this day with friends like, I don't know, like General Mike Flynn and Pete Chambers, and just people that, are all about doing the right thing. I got to a point where that became the norm for me, always doing what nobody else wanted to do, always, going into the darker areas, always doing the right thing. And so after my tour in Mogadishu, Somalia, when I was attached to, when I was with the CIA, we rescued a couple of girls, and and I say we, it was a combined effort with some Center Spike guys and some Marines and a few other people. I got back to the States, and for the first time in my life, literally, wondered what was happening with kids. I kind of thought they all grew up like me, and only to find out when I got back that in the United States we had, according to law enforcement at that time, 250,000 American kids missing. And when I asked what missing meant, no one could tell me. It was like, we don't know, they're just missing. So that I wasn't buying that. So I did some more research, and I think, coming full circle, those things that I grew up with, my lineage and all that, forced me to dig as deep as I could to find out what the truth really was. And the truth was, at that time, is there was child sex trafficking, there was child pornography, there was organ harvesting, there was runaways. There was just a whole plethora of crimes against children. And nobody was paying attention to it. So as part of my ancestry and part of my nature, I thought, okay, I'm going to stand on the battlefield all by myself, pick up my sword, and I don't care if 1,000 charge me. I'm going to give it the best shot I can. Fortunately for me, which is a blessing, as the enemies of darkness were just about to overrun me, God sent great people into my life, great friends, great war fighters, great people that said, you know what, we'll join this battle with you. And so now we're seeing some growth in America, and more people realize that for people like myself as a cold warrior, there's something bigger than overthrowing small governments. And what that is just saving the republic. And our children in this country are our most valuable asset, because they are the future of our republic. So that's kind of how I got here.
Yeah, amazing. Can I just ask you, in all your experience working in the military, CIA, etc., did you see any of this stuff going on, or sort of signs, with children going missing and stuff in your military career?
During my time in the Marine Corps, and even at bases, there was a history of prostitution around most fighting forces. But I never saw that. I never saw that happening with any children. Now, as you know, and many other people know, that when things evolved into Bosnia and stuff like that, we started paying close attention to that stuff. And there were children involved in those issues at that time. So I never saw that in the CIA. I never saw it. I do know of operations that were authorized by the agency. And when I say authorized by the agency, you have to keep in mind that organizations like most clandestine services are very compartmented. So a lot of things can happen in an organization and other people in the organization don't even know it's taking place. So I do know of operations that took place in the CIA, authorized by certain people, where children were used as what I call gator bait, so to speak, to incriminate people or to hold leverage over them. I don't approve it. I wasn't part of those operations. I'm just now, many years out of the agency, discovering more about that, to be honest with you. But overall, right now, for whatever it's worth, in the military, as far as the military in the United States that I know of, they are far more educated when it comes to the abuse of children. And so while there is still the debates on what prostitution actually is in our country with adults, I don't agree with it either, because almost every person that I know of that I've interviewed that has been in the life, so to speak, or in prostitution, has been groomed from a young age and been trafficked. So they're almost synonymous, to be honest with you. I've yet to find one person, an adult that's a prostitute, male or female, that says, yeah, I love getting up every morning and going to work. I just don't see it. Now, people can argue with me and debate it, but I don't see it. So the whole sexual abuse on every level of every human being is something that I think we have to pay really close attention to, because in the end, it's not good. I've seen no good come out of it. It's cross-pollinated with drugs and cartels and leverage and blackmail, and the list goes on and on and on and on. So, I mean, even now, even with the people that I knew and respected to some degree, just as human beings in the LGBTQXYZ community, whatever they're going to be next time, when they started supporting minor attracted persons, which are pedophiles, I broke ranks with them and I said, you know what? I don't believe it. I can't be a part of it. And I don't know how you could be a part of it. What they were doing there was just slow rolling pedophilia to make it legal by changing the title. Oh, they're just minor attracted persons, and justifying that, and doing the same thing, saying, well, they were born this way. Well, my step grandfather died a miserable alcoholic. Doesn't mean I've got to be an alcoholic, So I get tired of people making excuses for not doing the right thing, to be honest with you. So
yeah.
I mean,
doing that.
The whole thing we sort of like found out and dug into over these years is that keep adding these letters to the LGB movement, who have, some really nice people. They're not happy with how this trans movement is going, and the agenda to normalize sex with children and put a P on the end for paedophilia, and and change the name to minor attracted people. It's blatant. Right, it says in the Q drops, you cannot tell. Sometimes you can't tell the people the truth. You must show them, and people are being made aware of what this agenda is. Yeah, and you are exactly correct. I think one of the messages we have to send out to the world, I know we're working hard here in America to do that, is that awareness is very important. But getting in the fight and doing something about it is even more important, because when we make people aware, they just all of a sudden think somebody else is doing it, know? And so, I mean, I would tell the audience now that no, not everybody else is doing it, Now, not everybody can, like the mom with 3 kids and 4 jobs. I mean, I don't expect her to be out there in the trenches doing this kind of stuff. But I got to tell you what, we got a lot of veterans here in America that have skill sets, and they're just sitting around getting fat and lazy. And those are the guys I'd say, you know what, get your act together here. You know what, you spent your time saving the world, save the United States, save your kids here, let's get in the fight. And then finally, the third thing we have to really push here hard is accountability.
you know, for crimes against children, accountability for corruption, whatever it may be. And this is a big issue in America right now. And this is what's frustrating most American citizens, as we are seeing crimes being unveiled, whether it's against kids, whether it's election fraud, whether it's, you know, anything, and no one's being held accountable. And so when you don't have accountability, you don't really have an independent country. What you have are people at higher levels controlling things, so they're never held accountable for their crimes against children or against elections or against what a deep state or whatever it may be. And that's not a free nation. That's not we the people. That's not what we signed up for here in America. And that certainly isn't what our Constitution tells us. So those three things right there, I think, are essential right now in this day and age.
Yeah, I agree completely with you. And I think, you know, if you take a step back a little bit, people have been so, you know, put in this state of zombie likeness, you know, through television and music and having to work 3 jobs because of the economy. And so while accountability has to come, people are so brainwashed or have been so brainwashed, in my opinion, that if you just started, you know, putting these people in front of them and saying this one did this and this one did that, there would be a lot of, you know, cognitive dissonance that, oh, you know, what are they, what is this one a dictator, and what are we living in a military? So unfortunately, I think we had to go through this very awful stage of disclosure because people aren't even aware. And now let people get really frustrated. They have to get frustrated to say, where's the accountability? Because if the people don't get frustrated, then they're not in the fight. You know, they have nothing in it. And I think it's been a very strategic rollout, whether it's corruption, whether it's the crimes against children, whether it's the financial slave system. And you know, I guess from a strategic standpoint, the military or those in charge know or can gauge when we start to wake people up. I mean, if the Epstein files didn't start to wake people up, I don't know what will. You know, I mean, this is something that should disturb every single person. But then you hear people like, oh, what's on the news? It's the same thing, Epstein, this, and they just, so I don't know. It's like they just need a really strong slap in the face, a lot of people, to wake them up.
Yeah, we lack, and most nations lack this, and it's by design. We lack what's called generational oversight, meaning the generations that come after us or follow after us aren't educated as to what transpired and what was done about it. So for example, what will happen is 3 generations from our time right here today, no one will know that laws are already on the books that just aren't being applied. So what happens is legislators I hate to say this, but it's true, we get people elected who are really stupid.
Oh, yeah,
you think? And they don't know the law. I mean, we got sitting judges that don't even know the Constitution, you know, and we've seen that play itself out. So what happens is they make people feel warm and fuzzy by going, okay, we're going to create a new law. We're going to stop this. When in fact, the law was created maybe 50, 60 years ago. It's just never enforced, but everybody thinks something's being done about it, and it's not. So I think that is just, I think that applies to just everything in our country right now, to be honest with you. Like when the Biden and Obama administrations were in power, you know, people weren't even teaching American history here. Kids weren't even saluting the flag. They weren't saying the Pledge of Allegiance, you know, all that kind of stuff. Anything and everything they could do to disrupt the Constitution or the Republic, which is, as a Cold Warrior, you know, we know what that smells like. We watch it, you know, it's just old-fashioned communism, old-fashioned socialism. They might change the name. And by the way, it has changed. The name now is globalism. It's the same thing, you know? And so, you know, they basically put on a new pair of shoes, but they still got the same old stinky socks on, you know? Yeah. You know, that's exactly what it is. So we take the shoes off and we go, oh, smells like the same thing we smelled before, you know?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I think the change, I just wanted to say this. I think the difference now, though, than ever before in history is the internet. So, and the podcasters. So you're getting this rhetoric all these years from the news, or there's these control systems, right? But now you have more and more and more independent people, platforms for people like you to come on, to speak, to disclose a lot of this. So when General Flynn said, we've got an army of digital soldiers, that's what he was talking about. Now there's no control. Yes, of course, there's been censorship and you get flagged, but most podcasters don't care. They'll just start up another channel. They'll just go on another platform. Like, it's not like they close, say, all right, that's it. And I think that's where, because if you look at younger people, right? I have 2 daughters, they're college age. They know stuff that I'm surprised they know. Like sometimes I think, well, this is a little harsh. This is a little, and they know it. And so this new generation has the ability to get their information, very differently than we did when we were younger. And I think that that's what the change is going to be, because now you can't silence everyone, and then more people that know. So even to people in our audience, maybe they can't get in the fight the way you describe. They're sharing information. They're telling their neighbors. They're talking to their families who think they're crazy. And I would hope that that's kind of the differentiator now. The information's getting out there, and it's starting to flood.
Yeah, I would agree with you, and if I may add to that, all of this great freedom of speech with the podcasters and all that, I would hope that they are putting their emergency procedures in place. Meaning, what happens when we run into another Biden administration and they try to start shutting you down? How do we circumvent that? How do we still get the word out? It goes all the way back to the days when we had Radio Free Europe. Remember that? Just so we could get the message out to people, the earlier days, about the Soviet Union. And, I mean, we go all the way back to the Berlin Wall. These are things I wish and hope our generations look back at and go, let's learn from history. Let's learn from that. But you're right. And I'm thankful for it, because mainstream media that is controlled by high-powered influencers, they stay in their swim lane for whatever reason, because of corruption, because of money, because they want their job, whatever. But it has been my experience that podcasters like yourself are actually the ones out there going for the truth. They really are. And it's what's interesting is that we still have people kind of our age, believe it or not, that won't dig for the truth. I had something like that happen last night. I sent out Tulsi's speech, excuse me, on the Fauci situation. And before that, I sent out her stuff on the Brennan situation. And I literally had people calling me back going, that's not true, blah, blah, blah. The only way I could shut them down was to actually say, well, guess what? I have direct access to some of that information and helped with some of that investigation. And I'm telling you, it's the truth. And then they're like, oh, okay. But, just people, they don't look for the truth anymore, and I understand why, because we've had so much stuff thrown at us, from the right, from the left, whatever it may be, and people will get a little confused. But I go back to what I said earlier. Stop making excuses. You want to know the truth? Dig for it until you get the truth, So
yeah. Oh, exactly that. And look, I do think people are getting on board now. General Flynn, especially, saying local action equals national impact. People are getting involved now. They're going to school board meetings. They're standing up. They're all making videos. They're waking up. A lot of people are seeing how they've been lied to about America. All over the World Cup at the moment. Everyone's posting videos. But I do believe 117% that we will never see another Biden administration over there. I think these reveals are coming in so thick and fast now that you are seeing the destruction of the Democratic Party and the rhinos and the Republicans and stuff. And people are learning that, especially with this diversity, equity, inclusion, that these people in positions of power are not elected. They are selected. They are cheated in. And we've got so much stuff, not only with, you know, Chelsea talking about Fauci and the bioweapons labs and stuff. There's so much election fraud coming out with Trump going, we've got the evidence. And, you know, I do believe we're building into a moment where all this reveal is going to come thick and fast when it drops. But the one thing I wanted to say is the fact that you're talking about accountability. We believe a lot has happened behind the scenes, and people have been picked out and been held accountable. But it will not go any further in this awakening until this accountability is public and the abnormies start to see people getting arrested and taken away in handcuffs, and this information coming out on their TV, the mainstream media news channels.
Yeah, I agree 100% with you. Until we see them go to jail, the people are going to be thinking, well, someone's cutting a deal behind the curtain, so to speak. And we have a history of that because friends protecting friends, no matter what the crimes are. So yes, if we have accountability, I think we have a good chance of never seeing another Biden administration. But here's what we deal with in America, and this is never addressed well enough, I think. When we talk about the deep state and its global connections, what most people in America believe the fabric of that is political. And that's what they believe, or financial. It's money and it's politics. And I'm here to tell you it is not. It is, those are small parts of it, but the deep state here in America is a clandestine service. And in globally, it is a clandestine nature. These are the deep state in America is run and controlled and organized by former intelligence officers from all three-letter agencies, not only in the United States, but around the world. And this is one of the things that 47 is up against even to this day. You know, when it comes to all the deception and the lies, the clandestine community are the professionals when it comes to deception. And so I remember I mentioned this one time, and I look, I'm like 1-2 people removed from 47. I've yet to shake his hand, you know, and I know friends of his family that have for 20 years, you know, grew up with his family, or tell me all the good stuff inside, you know, like, well, if you were to sit at dinner with him, he's very funny, you'd love it, blah, blah, blah. And he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. I understand that. But if I had somebody said to me, well, if you were going to tell the president, or give him advice, what would you say? I'd say, Mr. President, this is what you're up against. And sadly, you are the greatest deal maker in the world. I mean, not sadly, but he is the greatest deal maker in the world. But sadly, what he's up against is the world of espionage. And until he's got the right people in his kitchen cabinet that can make sure that he's not blindsided by those operations, he's going to always take hits from everywhere from assassinations or assassination attempts to making him look bad, to people that he's hired who actually, according to some of us, know are talking to the deep state. All those things. And he doesn't yet have that, to be honest with you. I thought he had it with Tulsi, and I still think she's a tough gal. She's a tough gal. I have a lot of admiration for her. And I don't know this for a fact. And we keep her husband in our prayers, because I know they went through that threat, that health issue. But when the CIA walked in and took those boxes back on the JFK files and the MK Ultra files, and she wasn't able to prevent that from happening. As a former CIA officer, it told me somebody else is leveraging something. Somebody could have gone to her. And given the magic words, and here's the magic words: Tulsi, we're not going to do anything to you, but we're going to do things to everything you care about.
Right.
Okay. That's how the deep state works. They don't go after you. They don't have to. Why? It's too on the nose. They'll get blamed for it. But they did it with Mike Flynn, the same thing. You know, Mike was not guilty of anything. And then they came to him in a quiet meeting and said, we're going to go after your son. And Mike, being the great father that he is and a great general and a commander, said, okay, fine. What do you want? You want to hang me from the gallows? Hang me. Don't hang my son. And so this is at times when decisions are being made, or when 47 is making decisions, sometimes I wonder if certain people haven't come to him too and said, guess what, Trump, we're not going to go after you anymore. We're going to go after things you care about, your family, you know, your grandkids, whatever it may be. That's a tough place to be, but that's how dastardly the deep state is. And that is part of the tradecraft of the world of espionage. So even with kids, you know, when we look at the so-called billions of dollars in the child sex trafficking market, and by the way, let me point this out to our audience. We in America are the largest buyers of child porn and child sex of any other nation in the world. We should be ashamed of ourselves. I mean, it's just horrible. These are the most innocent of our nation, and yet we have people in positions of power, whether it's judicial or law enforcement or medical or pastors or whatever it may be, that do the devil's bidding for him when it comes to this. Now, I am seeing something interesting happening here in America, and I don't know if it's a reflection of what we've been doing since 1993 or not, but on Instagram, I'm seeing more and more people arrested for crimes against children, and I'm pleased with that. I'm seeing law enforcement departments arresting their own people. I'm seeing pastors, you know, being called out and getting caught and going to prison, and doctors, and the list goes on and on and on, and teachers. So something is happening here in America on the good side of things. And of course, with my relationships with Homeland Security, you know, I talk to them, and they too dedicate a lot of time to this issue when it comes to child sex trafficking and crimes against children. But even today, Stu, just to let you know, they still have deep state DEI players in their own organization. The house has not been cleaned, and they struggle with those obstacles every single day when it comes to them doing the right thing. And this is just part of not cleaning a house, you know, right out the bat.
Yeah, I mean, we are seeing, sorry, Lisa, just quickly, we are seeing a massive game of multi-dimensional chess go on.
Took away my thunder.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm sorry about that. Using leverage against each other with files and documents and things like this. But I just want to say two things quickly. We saw, I think his name is Tim Tebow, but he's done a couple of videos showing, and I just think he was using New York, wouldn't he? He'd done the IP addresses that are currently surfing child porn, and it was everywhere. It was like just a sea of red, and this is awful. But I just want to say, what the public don't realise, that we realise, is that Trump, in 10 years, as a duly elected president, has never, ever been given the chance to govern properly. You know, he's always been hindered at every single turn, whether that's by the politicians, the rhinos, the mainstream media, the deep state. If he was, I mean, even now he's just done the reflecting pool, and you've got all these idiots trying to rip the reflecting pool up and throw algae in there, team algae and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's ridiculous, right? It's Trump the arrangements all the time.
Yeah, he does it. He does it for the country. I mean, people keep forgetting. Here's a guy that didn't need this job.
Right.
He didn't take a paycheck. So I believe with all my heart, you know, actions speak louder than words. And so far, almost everything that the president has done for the nation has been for the nation. Like, we'll take the reflecting pool. Man, it looks great. It's beautiful. Washington was like, how about the National Guard coming in? And then I walked in the streets of Washington, D.C. and talked to neighbors in neighborhoods of every race, creed, and color and said, how's the city doing? They're like, man, we feel so much safer here. Thank you, Mr. Trump, for giving us National Guard. Thank you for cleaning up the crime. You're like, and that's because there are people in America, real Americans, that want to live in peace. And then you've got a whole bunch of yahoos that know nothing but evil and destruction, and anything they can try to tear apart. I mean, just, it just makes no sense. I mean, what was it we had in LA just recently? They had the basketball game and they won, and then they went out in the streets and burned cars and destroyed things. It's just it's really bad mentality, to be honest with you.
Well, just a couple of things. I've just been writing things down. So I come from Queens, same place Trump comes from. Very proud of that. He was sort of a local hero before he was anything else, going back to the 70s and the 80s. And if you look at New York, just as an example, okay, this man has been involved in so many counter operations to what's going on, from the simplicity of taking away the rebuilding of the Woolman Rink because of all the corruption in New York City and getting it done in whatever it was, 6 months or whatever, record time, to the fact that he was involved in sting operations to take down the New York mob, right? So if you use that kind of as an example, I feel maybe overconfidently, but I just feel in my heart that there are so many behind the scenes things going on, because don't forget, this war couldn't be won, and it is a war, a spiritual war and a war on all levels, could not have been won by just going in with tanks and guns. This is a war of infiltration. So you had the financial aspect, the health aspect, the education. I mean, every single aspect of our lives, media was just controlling us for how many years, to the point that people don't realize. Listen, when I come from the business community, and when I talk to these knuckleheads, and that's what they are, they've got degrees, they've got degrees on their walls, right? Whether they're in the legal profession, the accounting profession, whatever. And they don't even know that the Federal Reserve is a private bank. That tells you how very stupid and ignorant they are, okay? And that's just one thing. So now we look at all the areas that this bunch of good guys had to infiltrate. Okay, Trump said, we will never announce where we're going to attack ever again, but attack we will, So I feel very confident. And then add to it what all the things that are going on spiritually right now, whether it be the Schumann resonance, whether it be everybody's vibrations raising because we're seeking the truth. And so you've got these crazies that are getting affected by this too. And I say, as horrible as it is to watch, we need for this all to come to the surface, because you can't do you can't get the people to understand. And burning cities and doing all this ridiculous things, awful. Let them do it. Let them do it, because we need this all out in the forefront, and we need to be able to eventually have them die. And I mean that metaphorically, die because they can't survive anymore in the new energies that are coming. And that's why we're in the midst of this awful stuff that we keep saying. But I truly believe that there's so much more being done than we could even imagine.
Yeah, there is on many fronts, particularly spiritual front. I would encourage America to always remember this, and it's so true. The only thing for evil to rule is for good people to do nothing. And so even in the midst of all the other things that might be happening behind the scenes, in America, there's something to be said about we the people. And I always cast that back out to the audience going, that means you individually. And if you stand by and you let evil destroy everything around you, you deserve what you get. That's it. If you don't like the crime, you don't like the child rape, you don't like the bank fraud, you don't like whatever it is, it's a crime that's making your life miserable, and you don't do something about it, then you deserve what you get, So, people expect, the word government, it's really funny in America here. We have people that don't understand the Constitution. and they don't understand we the people. The government doesn't run us; we run the government. And yet, some of those same people expect the government to take care of them, and expect the government to rule over them. And then they cry about the government making a rule or a law or Trump doing the right thing. So it's really ironic. But yeah, I think I agree 100% with you. I think the envelope. I think we push really hard, and we're being pushed hard to a point where if I had to do a predictability study, which I do many of them, people will come to me and say, what are the trends looking like 15 years ago? What's it going to look like in the future? What's your best estimate? It's like doing a threat analysis, a threat assessment, excuse me. I would highly warn evil people and Democrats. And I hate to put it in that category. And look, I'm a patriot, I'm there are as many bad Republicans as there are bad Democrats. Okay. There's some that are all part of the same club. This is like remember when Trump ran, he wasn't either.
Yeah.
He was just an independent. He was himself. I think it was smart. But so for a lot of warfighters and patriots, I want people to abide by the Constitution. But I will say this to all of those people who decide they want to do bad things to America and destroy the Constitution and hurt people, there's going to come a time where people will revert back to taking justice into their own hands. I saw that recently here in Texas, where a man's daughter was raped by traffickers, and he went out and he killed the traffickers. He's free today. He's free. Texas ruled correctly. They ruled in his favor, and I agree 100% with them. You know what? I've seen so much of this that when I hear parents go, "You touch my kids, I'll kill you." Guess what? They deserve to be able to do that, to be honest with you. If it's, the evidence has to be there, of course.
Of course.
But with that, because I will tell you how many, I have seen over and over and over a broken judicial system where pedophiles, predators, people who rape children, 30 days, 60 days, maybe there's a judge who's a pedophile, let somebody go free. This is wrong. It's wrong. This is not accountability. So here's what I tell Americans, and people go, "You're going to get in trouble for this. The FBI is going to come knocking on your door if you say this." It's like, here's what I tell America. You follow in the footsteps of your founding fathers when this nation was formed in the 1700s. And you ask yourself, what did George Washington and Thomas Jefferson and all them have to do to protect their liberty and their freedom of speech? And the list goes, and their families from being raped or murdered or killed by whoever it was. Okay. What did they finally have to revert to defend this nation and the Constitution? They went to war. Now, war is a horrible thing. I've spent time downrange, as many war fighters have, and it's ugly and it's horrible. But I'm going to tell you something. Freedom is not free. Freedom is not free. And the good people that abide by the Constitution in the United States now, they're always just on the edge, just saying, you know what? Okay, let's just give it another day to change. Maybe the bad guys won't do this tomorrow. They're so compassionate, and they love life and they love humanity. They're always looking for a way to avert the war from happening. But there could come a time in our country that, Stu, if it doesn't get back to like what you were predicting, so to speak, that people are so fed up, and they will teach this, and you will have generational oversight. They will say, before you give up your freedom, you fight. You physically fight, because everything else is down the toilet. And so when I tell people that, I go, look, if you're going to hate me, you might as well hate George Washington. You might as well hate Thomas Jefferson and Benjamin Franklin and all our founding fathers. And you might as well hate the Constitution, because that's what it tells us to do, because that's how we secured our freedom, unlike any other nation in the entire world. And so let's hope we never get there. But if we do, then let us do it to the bloody end, so that the generations after us can have the same freedom that we have, and so what so many people have fought for since the beginning of our country, so to speak.
Exactly. Well, we have been told many times that potentially we are coming into a scare event, precipice moment, near-death experience, gut punch, whatever it's going to be, it's the final catalyst to wake the rest of these people up to actually get involved and stand up and fight for freedom. Yeah. You know, everyone has to do it. It doesn't matter how big or small a part you play. You've just got to play a part. You know, I've got a lot of people that, I'll watch your stuff, but I won't share any of it, that sort of thing, you know, or don't use the voices, or they won't share anything on their social media because of their job, you know, and things like this. But a lot of people are still being held under this. Well, it's love, not fear, isn't it? Or fear, not love, you know.
And I wonder, you know, we say about financial, but it really is a big part of it. You know, when you're dependent to put food on the table, you know, and because all of the, not only the mind screwing that they've done to make us feel like we should live in lack, right? Whether it's the church or it's the government, whatever, people have this mentality that they're undeserving deep down, the lack of self-love, but physically, right? Because of all the things that, you know, the way we're controlled. I guarantee if people had more abundance in their lives, they'd be a lot more willing to put these posts on social media and say, I don't care who sees this, you know. So we still have these control systems that people are fighting against. I mean, those people during COVID who had the bravery to say, I don't care, fire me, you know.
Yeah.
And they figured it out. And I know so many, especially here in New York, they are so much better. Like God just did that to them because they were meant for better things. It didn't feel like that, but they did. But, you know, it takes a certain person. And I think that a lot of what's happening right now in a lot of these blue states, right? You have a mass exodus that happened from New York. Okay, within the last 5 years to Florida, to free states, Florida, Texas. And my fear is like, well, I hope that they're going to go to these states and bring something important and not turn them into the disgusting dumps they just left.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, it's interesting. Friends of mine pointed out it is difficult sometimes knowing who the good guys are and the bad guys. But this is why it's difficult for people in our country not to understand, not to be able to tell the good from the bad, because they don't seek God's wisdom anymore.
Yes.
So this is like, this is a word that some generations don't even know. You know, they try to figure it out technically. Yes, we go after evidence. Yes, we do dig after things like this, but wisdom and discernment. Let me tell you what. The Bible said, you know, if a tree bears bad fruit, perchance the roots are bad, right? But because of the lack of wisdom in our country, people can't see that it's bad fruit. Guess what? They run around eating rotten fruit all the time. You know, they align with rotten people and they call them good. We're at a time in the world where God said evil will be called good and good will be called evil. And we saw that in this last administration. So we're still climbing out of a hole a little bit. And this is why, you know, for people who complain like I have nothing to do, hey, support the nation. You'll have something to do the rest of your life until you get buried. Trust me, because it's not going away overnight and everything. So it's just a matter of, it always boils down to something, and that is, if you care enough? That's it. Do you care? And sadly, there's a lot of people that don't care. I'm looking at what's taking place over in the UK right now. I saw that we all saw the big thing on the rape thing, you know, and I remember watching this last session in Parliament, I guess, where, you know, they wanted to go after all the bad guys, and it got voted down, you know, and it's like, and it was just, I'm thinking, wow, you know, what are you kidding me? And then I'm looking at some other footage of the Irish doing their thing, and I'm just wondering, when are the Scots going to get involved? And, you know, and I have to give it, you know, and then I'm wondering where the Welsh are in this, you know. So, I mean, I spent time over there. I have friends over there and stuff like that. But I have to tell you, we were talking about all the stuff that's happening in the UK with kids being raped, and particularly by illegal immigrants, and that being allowed to filter through. And I think back in the days of when, whether good or bad, when the IRA was up, you know, and they were having that, and they were polished, and they went and then they fought. you know, for something that they believed in and their freedom and stuff. And so I keep wondering, okay, let's see all those people, you know, come back to scale and protect the children on the island over there in the UK and Ireland and Wales and Scotland, and topple, get rid of bad government people there as well. You know, it's just, you know, and then if you get all that on top of, you know, one of the greatest movies ever made out there by Mel Gibson, Braveheart, you know, all the Americans love that, man. I'm telling you what, it lights a fire underneath us over here.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
So.
Definitely. No, I mean, I had a mate say to me a couple of days ago that, and he's very awake and stuff like that, but he's going, I need to get out of this country. I'm thinking about going here and stuff. And I basically said, you cannot escape this wherever you go. This is we the people in every country, whether it's being steered in a certain direction by the white hats, or this is the deep state's final hurrah, right? It comes down to we the people, right? Rising up together, right? Joining in unison. And it might come to a Braveheart moment. You know, I talk about scare event, precipice moment, stuff like that. But even if the military is going to come in and do their thing publicly, they won't do it until the people are ready. This is why Trump said, we're giving power back to you, the people, in 2017. And what the people done with it? Not a fucking lot, have they?
Yeah, I believe when Trump said, when Trump made that statement, when he said, they're attacking me because I'm helping you. And you know what? It is true. It is true. You know, at first when he said it, you know, I had to take some time to do my own research and have those conversations in Washington and get behind the veil and find out, you know, if it was really for America. And guess what? It is. It made perfect sense because he, you know, even when he opened his mouth and said, I'm going to drain the swamp, you know, it's what everybody wanted. So I believe he is the people's president. Now you're going to have people that didn't vote for him going, he's not my president. But guess what? You know what? The majority voted for him. And guess what? The elections were rigged the first time, and everybody knows it. All the conspiracy stuff, you know, it was not conspiracy at all. So, but we're going to always have people that you can show them all the evidence, and they're going to still put up a fight. Excuse me. They're going to still put up a fight and say they don't believe it.
Yeah. I want to be very mindful because we're coming up on the hour, but I did want to give you an opportunity to just speak a little bit about ARC and what people can do and to support it, to get involved. You know, like what we're trying to always convince our audience that it's great to be aware, it's great to share information, but here's what you could do to get, you know, to up that a little bit and get more involved.
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for that.
That's your site, isn't it, Baz?
It is. Yeah, it is. Thank you, Stu. Well, we know there's a problem in America, and it's and all over the world, actually, when it comes to child sex trafficking, missing and exploited children. And so what kind of person do you want to be? If you're a person that wants to get into the fight, then you need to understand the AO, the area of operations, and you need to be trained up for it. We offer the most comprehensive course in America when it comes to getting you out in the field to actually run operations. We covered the A's to the Z's. There's no other course like it. And I say that not because we're bragging, it's just we've been doing it for 35 years. We're bringing something to you that's going to help you be effective. We had this past week, we had 2 rescues, and they were done with alumni. Most of our rescues now are with the help of people that took our courses. And what we want to do is we want to encourage people to get out there and start their own NGOs, their own non-government organizations based on the training they receive and force multiply so that we can go rescue more kids. Art can't do it all. And I will tell the audience this. Just remember this. This is not about you. This is about them. So if you're going to take a course and you're going to try to get in the fight to save children because you're looking for purpose or it's about you, don't get in our swim lane. Okay. I don't want you there. All right. You're going to cause problems. This is a calling. This is 24/7. You can't, if you get a call, then there's a 12-year-old standing on the corner of Figueroa in Los Angeles at 2 on Sunday, 2 o'clock in the morning. You can't say, oh, I'll wait till Monday. You got to go. Okay, that's what saving lives is all about. So we offer this course at recoveryofchildren.com. That'll give you the schedule. We can only run 6 of these a year because we're running operations other times. And then, of course, recoveryofchildren.org is our website that'll give you a history of who we are and what we are. Out of all the NGOs, and we have some strategic partners, so I think this is worth mentioning also, if I may. There are a lot of organizations blossoming now because this is fashionable. I know people go, well, how can you say that? I can say it because of this. Anybody who tells you we're starting an organization and we're going to end child sex trafficking, they haven't been in the trenches long enough. This won't not end until God comes home. That's it. In the meantime, you have to figure out how big of a bite you can take out of it with your organization. And you have to approach this with humility and courage. And remember that one woman or one man with courage is always a majority. And this is what we try to teach people out there to do. So if this is something that you're called to do, then we highly encourage you, take the course. We have people come from all over the world to take our course. And they go out, and next thing you know, I'm getting an email like 2 weeks later, like, we just rescued our first kid. Oh my gosh, blah, blah, blah. So they're continuing to do that. So, yeah, thank you for allowing me to speak about that and encourage people to get in the fight, because quite simply, if we do not, then the question is, who will? And that's it. And that's what I wake up to every day. If I don't today, who will? I can't depend on somebody else to do it. And generally speaking, that's the way it is with anything in life. It takes one or two that just go, I'm getting in the water. I'm going to go save the life. If you are waiting for other people to join you, you'll be waiting a long time. Believe me. Yeah. I wish there were more brave people. I wish there were more people that cared. But apparently there is not at this time in society. So be one that does care and stand alone and stand strong and stand on the battlefield by yourself and say, I don't care what the rest of the world does. You know what? I'm going to go save that kid.
Perfect. And I just want to say that
that's okay.
Your every Monday show, your link with some other links, children saving links, is in our description every Monday under the video and stuff. And I just want to say quickly as well that there's a lot of people out there pretending to be someone they're not. There's some people out there that are podcasting and stuff that are, on the wrong side and just doing it to earn money and things like that. So discernment is key, people. You have to do that. And I know, because I watched your interview with Joe Altman the other day, and it's really interesting. But you talk about Lara Logan, don't you? Being one of the people. And I've got a little video of Lara that I play a lot, talking about this eradication of gods and what these people are all about. But she is an amazing person. We'd love to have her on our show sometime. But you've got a lot of respect for her, haven't you? Yeah,
Laura's great. I've known her since she was 19, when she showed up on a Puma helicopter in Angola when I was in the war, when we were there with Jonas Savimbi and UNITA. And I was like, who is this kid getting out in the battlefield, And so we kept an eye on her all these years, and as God would have it, came full circle. She is on our advisory committee for art. She is the one person that I trust most when it talks about media and journalism and stuff like that. Laura, if you want the truth, Laura Logan is the person who will give you the truth. And I've known her all these years. And if I say something, she'll go, well, tell me how you know that. Show me, I mean, she calls it on the carpet, man. And it's good because it requires you to have your act together. So we've got a lot of great people helping us down the road. I will tell you this, Stu, just to mention this, when you talk about a lot of people pretending to be things and they're not. We only work with probably 9-10 strategic partners, other organizations in America. Out of the hundreds that are popping up, that's it. Because some people are making a business out of this. They go get government grant money. They pay big salaries. I'm not saying you shouldn't pay people salaries. I mean, we don't. And I don't, because it allows me to know the heart of men. You want to come save a child? Why? I can't pay you a paycheck. It's like, I don't care. I'll find a way to pay my bills. I want to save kids. Those are the right people I want now. Hopefully it won't always be that way because they do have families, but most, that's about it. Probably 9, maybe 10 other strategic partners, because over time, they actually are the real deal. They're the ones that do what they say they're doing. And then there's a bunch out there, whether it's child rescue or aftercare or wraparound care, that make a lot of money. We just got a deal going down in Texas right now, where it's an aftercare facility just got caught with their hands in the cookie jar. I'm taking a lot of money and basically trafficking kids. I won't mention her name. I'll let it come out. But another strategic partner of ours, Remnant, and ourselves were in the middle of some of that. And it was sad because these are people you trust, and everything. So like you said, Stu, discernment is very, very important.
Yeah.
Well, I want to personally thank you for what you do. And this, just to bring it back to the personal side of things, if you had to describe in one sentence what you feel on a personal level when you hear that a kid gets rescued, I'd love to hear that.
Yeah. It's the saving one child may not change the world, but for that one child, their entire world will change.
Beautiful.
That's beautiful. Let me just add one thing to that.
Yeah.
Because also in the interview you did with Joe, he showed a little video of a guy talking about the figures and the amount of children go missing and stuff. And we hear the official statistics are, whether these are true or not, 8 million children every year go missing, which is 22,000 a day. Now, if those figures are true or anywhere near true, even if it's only one child goes missing every year, if that number's between 1 and 8 million, people should be in uproar about this, not paying their attention to the football. It's nice to have a little break if you're doing this in your life, to go and have a bit of downtime. But if you're doing that and ignoring this, then you need to have a word with yourself, really.
Well said, Stu. Well said. Yeah, I agree 100% with you with that. Yeah,
Good.
amen to that. Yeah, so. Well, thank you guys for having me on here. I appreciate it.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, and however we can always be of service, don't hesitate to reach out. I'll send you guys a little, when I get off of here, we just finished our first ARC promo video. We've been so wrapped up in operations for 34 years as this. Someone actually, we put this together, and I'll send it to you. I hope you like it. And if you do, it speaks to you, then feel free to send it around. I'll send it on the email to you. How's that? There's a link.
Oh, yeah, that's brilliant. I'll share it everywhere, and we'll incorporate it in our next shows if we can play it in little pieces and places. Yeah, that'd be absolutely perfect.
That'd be perfect. So God bless you guys. Thank you so much.
You.
Keep fighting the fight, Baz. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Out
Take care. Amazing.
Really and truly. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, I know that was quite nice, wasn't it? I mean, it's difficult in information, but I know you struggle a little bit, don't you, with some of the guests, because it just wears on your soul. I've told you, haven't I? I'm quite strong in these situations where I'm listening to people because I'm strong for them.
Well, today was different because this was like a warrior conversation, you know, so it's inspirational, and it's not, if he would have told stories, I'm sure that would have hit, if he would have told rescue stories or things like that, which if that's, something he'd want to do, I'd love to have him come back on to talk about that, because sometimes like people are reached in different, ways. And sometimes when they hear those stories, that's what ignites that something that maybe they didn't know they had, because of a story. But it's just what I find so amazing is that nobody gets paid. This is truly from the heart, which you don't hear that a lot, right?
Yeah. Well, this is why we're doing it, not getting paid.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, maybe one day, but it's not about that anyway. like I say, if the truth comes out and all the criminals get arrested, we're all going to be rich. We're going to be living in a completely different world of abundance, and maybe the return of the wealth they've stolen off us all these years, and all the children will be saved and safe going forward.
You know, whenever we have this conversation about like missing kids, I'm always directed in my mind about the kids that aren't missing, that are being exploited by their own families, right? Because I think that video, an interview with Tim Tebow, he talks about how, I mean, the number he said was 35% of all trafficking is familial. You know, a father, a mother, somebody in the family.
We've heard that number from many of our guests, haven't
Exactly.
we?
And that's where, that's where it feels like, where do you start with that? Do you start with local hotels? Do you how do you even start to figure out how to find those? Because I think it was Lee Dundas who said, you have a hotel in your neighborhood, you know, your area, there's trafficking.
Yeah, that's it. Talking about little small villages and tiny little towns, you know, out in the certain places. She said, if there's a hotel,
exclusive, beautiful,
trafficking.
Yep. Yeah. So I guess the first step in that is to have your eyes open, right? And maybe to those people who work in hotels, to just be more discerning when someone comes in. You know, are they really married? Is it really their daughter? You know, that sort of thing. And to be a little more curious with that. And we still have a long way to go with that. But I think that's the harder part of this whole awful story that we really need to figure out, because it's so clandestine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that was another great show today. Thanks everyone in the chat for joining us. These, you know, these Monday shows are sometimes hard to listen to, but very, very uplifting. If you follow Q and what Trump's doing with executive orders and stories we've heard about children being rescued and the military going into tunnels and all these sorts of things. And we are going to win this war. And we just keep fighting on. We the people hold the line. Where we go one, we go all, etc. Yeah, and if you're out there listening to this and you haven't joined in the movement yet, just do something. Just tell one of your friends, have you heard about this? Or share something on your social media, whatever. Just get involved, just a tiny little bit. And the more you do, the easier it becomes as well. And I just want to say as well, when you said, oh, you stole my thunder there, right? I know we steal each other's thunder.
Yeah, no, I was happy you brought it up because we're always on the same wavelength. I was just being silly.
Exactly that, and I love that. That's brilliant. Right, so we're we tarot by Janine tomorrow.
Yes,
Janine Morrigo. So we look forward to that. So I hope you'll all join us for that. Lots of love.
I just want to make an announcement about our newsletter. So I think we're on, what's today, 3? I think this week was our 3rd newsletter that we sent out. Now, the current newsletter that we're doing, the way it works is if you subscribe, we get your email in as soon as possible. But like if you subscribe on a Saturday, chances are you won't be in the mailing list till the next newsletter the following week, because everything's already all set up to go out on Sunday. But what I wanted to let you know is right now it's not very exciting. It has our list of the upcoming shows, which is important. We also have our list of who we're working with in an affiliate position with Patriots Across the Pond, but we're going to start adding a little bit more. So hopefully it'll be a little more fun and a little more, personal. Obviously, we want to, engage you guys more, but right now, try to get your, if you're subscribing or anyone who wants to subscribe, try to get it in there by like a Friday, because then you can, be in time for that Sunday's newsletter.
Absolutely perfect. Love you, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow, and we'll play our little respect outro now.
Yes.
Take care. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Children are the center of our world, and we to show them that we care. But evil is lurking everywhere to steal their youth, kill their souls, show them things that they should never know. We live in the craziest of times, you never know what's in another's mind. We keep them safe, protect from bad, but they just choose to make them sad and keep their evil rituals alive. Who saves the children? We do, we do. Who keeps them safe and warm and so secure? We do, we do. Who saves the children? We do, we do. And we'll fight to death to keep it safe for you. We'll fight for what's right with all of our might, and we won't leave one single child behind. They've been here since the dawn of time, and their actions take a twisted mind. But we won't stand no more. We'll track them down for sure and make sure that they are gone forevermore. Why can't you see the crimes committed on our kids by the powers that be? How long do we wait? How many must die? How many loving parents need to cry? Who saves the children? We do, we do. Who keeps them safe and warm and so secure? We do, we do, we do. We do, we do. Who saves the children? We do, we do. And we'll fight to death to keep it safe for you. We'll fight for what's right with all of our might, and we won't leave one single child behind. Who keeps them safe and warm and so